A potent typhoon now nearing landfall here in the Philippines. Of course, we're talking about Nika, but on its heels, we could have another storm developing and another potential typhoon in the same area that will be called Usagi internationally, Ofel here in the Philippines. So back to back to back to back storms, and that is not an exaggeration. We go back to Christine, Leon. We just had Mars move through. Now we have Nika and potentially our next storm, all in the course of about 2 weeks here, friends. Boy, it has been a rough couple weeks and it's not over yet. This one still strengthening all the way up to landfall, which likely going to be making landfall as a Cat 1 to Cat 2 storm, according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. A really big width on this too. It's not terribly consolidated, meaning that you are seeing those rain bands even over towards the Manila area, extending all the way down across the Batangas, over towards the Bicol region. With this, seeing that heavy precipitation. Landfall likely is going to be right around Casiguran, though, there into the Carino Isabela area here for northeastern Luzon. Heavy precip likely, though, is going to be at its peak here across the Sierra Madre Mountains, extending through the Cagayan Valley and even into the watershed of the Magat River, including the Magat Dam. So don't be surprised if it do start releasing some water here. So that's going to be a big issue. It's the flood threat further off towards the north here. This is from the Japan Meteorological Agency, though. They do have it at landfall, about a Cat 1, crossing just over Carino, really passing right over the Magat Dam there, extending just over Baguio and then re-emerging just around La Union before traversing off towards the west as we go ahead into your Tuesday. So here we go. This is Monday, heading into Tuesday morning. We start to see those improving conditions, and by Tuesday evening, that'll be about 1500. It's going to be some vastly improving conditions. I'm not going to show the map for signal force warnings, but I do want to let you know, if you are under signal force 3, pretty much means typhoon conditions are expected in your neighborhood. 4 or 5, definitely a lot higher. That's when we're talking about super typhoon status. So if we get the 5, I do not expect that, but we do already have 3 issued for some of these coastal areas, with 2s extending further towards the west. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some 3s there into parts of central Isabela. All right, so Monday evening, this is what we're looking at here. Throughout the day on Monday, increasing rainfall across the Cagayan Valley, even as far south as Pangasinan, over towards Manila too. And then this exits further off towards the west with some improving conditions. Finally, as we go ahead into Tuesday morning, and by Tuesday afternoon, heading to evening, like I mentioned, really a good portion of Luzon is going to start to see some vastly improving conditions outside of some of these feeder bands, helping to kick up some afternoon showers. But I mean, just in general, the big issue, especially in these higher elevations, is going to be that moisture getting squeezed out and those totals really adding up here. And I truly mean that. We could be seeing 200 to 300 millimeters on top of already saturated grounds from our previous storms. That's the big issue here. Places like the Cagayan River already running high, so you get more water on top of that. It's going to be creating that exceptional increased chance of flooding. Not to mention, another storm on its heels too. So there's just so much to talk about here. And then here's a look at the next round. Now, the ECMWF at the last second does change this and kicks it off towards the north, just kind of clipping northeastern Luzon. But the GFS has been really keeping it further towards the south with a more than likely landfall. And I think based on the trends we have been seeing, that is probably going to be the case. So prepare your ready to go kit. I feel like if you don't have it in place by now, but all the storms we've been seeing, you're kind of missing out here. Prepare to evacuate if needed. And the key thing is know your information from those official sources. Check your local government, not to mention check Bagasa, of course. I'm not an official source, albeit I truly appreciate you guys watching these updates and kind of getting that information so you can share with your friends, your neighbors, and make sure everybody is staying safe during this storm. Here's a look at the flyover for Tuesday. So Monday, all of Luzon is going to be looking at the rainfall. Tuesday, we're going to get a little bit of a break, just a little break here. And even over towards Wednesday before the next storm arrives by Thursday. Goodness gracious. For Tuesday, though, storm's going to be just off towards the west by about noontime. Still got some isolated showers kind of popping up here, especially for northwestern Luzon. That inflow. Abra River is going to be running real high. Guarantee that. But in general, we'll get a little bit of break here. Then we're talking about the next storm. Now, these are showing waves, which the West Philippine Sea is going to be a rough go for a few days. But also, I mean, just massive surf. And then here's a look at the ECMWF showing over 6 to 10 meters offshore of northeastern Luzon by Thursday and Friday. And then that's Manille actually in its wake. So here's another broader picture. So of course we have our ongoing typhoon still. I haven't even really talked about this. Off the northeast coast of Hainan, weakening, thankfully, just south of Hong Kong. That's our Mars. Meanwhile, here's our current storm, of course, nearing landfall. That's Nika right in there. Then we have what is likely going to be called Usagi just towards the south of Japan. That's based on the international naming scale. And then we have Manille, which, good news with that. I mean, bad news, it will impact the Northern Mariana Islands. Good news, it is likely going to weaken out here. My chief concern within this conveyor belt of storm systems is this one just towards the south of Guam, which I think is going to be a powerful typhoon as it heads off towards the west here, running along the southern periphery of the Westpac Heights, located right in there. So this is all going to stay towards that south. And yeah, see here as we go ahead into Thursday, another landfalling typhoon here in eastern Luzon, with this another case where signal force 3 or 4 is probably going to be issued late week for the same area. At least on its heels there, like I said, Manille going to be weakening out, but oof, it's a rough go, guys. It is a rough go for our friends out here in the Philippines. Want to say a big quick thanks for our friends on Patreon before I get to more of the update here, including Steve, that's his username. Just signed up for our Super Typhoon category. Thank you very much, Steve. Truly appreciate it. And everybody else who's been donating not only recently, but for well over a year, 2 years now. I can't thank you guys enough for who have been continuing to allow us to make these updates. And I'm working on, increasing these graphics, making them a little bit better. Of course, they are already fantastic, but that's the goal of the Patreon. Not only keeping these updates going, but also continue to try to make them that much better as we go forward here. And also big thanks to our sponsors, including FrontrunnerFinancial.com, if you want to check them out. Have that. But thanks for everybody. Hey, if you have any questions, though, please let me know. Number one thing, of course, as always, with any one of these storms is stay safe out there. It's a rough go right now, and it's been back-to-back storms, and you need a break, but we are still continuing to track these and looking at these broad impacts from, of course, our ongoing typhoon out here, weakening at least. Our current storm moving over the Philippines, over northern Luzon, the same place, these same areas, these same storms have been hitting. And then our next storm, which I think is going to be another dangerous setup here towards the east, and a potential typhoon, maybe even stronger than that, which I don't even like saying it. I don't want to bring it to light, so I won't say it, but we could be looking at another one back here towards the east. So, yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. As always, I'm meteorologist Robert Speda, and as always, stay safe out there.
Do you hate doing your taxes? Do you struggle figuring out what the law is and money management overseas?
I wish there was an easier way.
Well, FrontrunnerFinancial.com is your choice if this falls into your category. They're an international-based group of American accountants. They're based in Manila, and they're qualified to give you the best information where you are for those international finances. I wish I had these guys when I lived in Tokyo. Each year, it was a struggle. Where I needed to put money, what I needed to do. FrontrunnerFinancial.com. Be sure to check them out and let them know we sent them your way.